Hey there, I'm John Siskovich, and I want to discuss the 4 different kinds of fence that I have used on farm. The pig fencing, sheep fencing, and 2 different kind of poultry netting. We'll discuss the differences between them, why we use this certain fence for a certain animal, and just kind of a good fencing overview. So let's start with that fence on the end and we'll work our way in. That fence on the end is my original poultry netting. I've had it for a couple of years now. You can see it's a little extra saggy because the poles are further apart. There's more strands of wire because it's poultry netting and they don't want the birds, you don't want the birds to escape out of it or things to get in. And with those poles wider apart and over time, things sag. So to combat or get around that sagging, I'll go in and add an extra support post in between those 2 posts so that I have a nice tight straight fence and it's not kneeling on the ground and grounding out, and then I get a weaker fence and then my birds aren't as secure. So while I lose some time with adding the extra post in, I save some time in the fact that it's 164 feet on each one. I have 2 fences that I hook up for my egg layers, and in those 2 fences I get an extra 64 feet versus the 100-foot chicken fence, which is the next one in. I'm not even going to try to point it out on camera, but the other poultry netting I have is the Premier Plus, and that has extra posts in it as opposed to the posts being here. They're here. So you get about the same number of posts, but it's over 100 feet, not 164 feet. So there, your time saving is that their fence stays tighter and taller and less saggy because you have the added posts in, and the fence is a little shorter, makes it easier to manage. But you lose a little bit in the fact that it's only 100 feet, and if you have 2 fences together to make your area, it's only 200 feet versus the 328, I think the math is, on the other 2 164-foot fences. So there's give and take there. For me personally, I like the bigger area because I only want to go out and do fencing once. So I'll take the extra 5 to 10 minutes to put in the extra post because I get, maybe an extra full day out of my rotation, and that adds up over time. Then we're into the sheep fencing. That's the next fence I have. Again, 48 inches tall I think both poultry netting and the sheep fencing I bought the 46, 48 inch fencing. The poles spaced a little bit wider, but they're spaced wider apart and the fence stands up better because the verticals on that, instead of it being braided strands, they're thin plastic strips, and those thin plastic strips stay stiff. So you have the post on the ends and then you have these strips going all the way through, and that keeps the fence stiff, keeps your fence upright so your sheep don't escape. It also has fewer strands because you don't have to worry about baby chicks or smaller animals going through. The sheep, you generally say, a little safer. So with the fewer strands, there's less weight, less for you to carry, and less weight to pull it down so it doesn't sag quite as much. It's really great for sheep. Easy enough on all of these for a human to swing a leg over if you need to. But the easiest to get in and out of is by far pig fencing, which is next to me. Now, I will say with the pig fencing that I bought, or the farm bought, these 3 fences behind me, both types of poultry fence and the sheep fence, and I have multiple rolls of all of them. Premier1supplies.com. Premier gave me this pig fencing, and I'll have a link for them in the comment section below, but gave me this pig fencing in exchange for me doing a few videos. They're an awesome company. I've invested, a ton of money in buying my fencing from them. I wrote in and said, hey, I'd like to make a video with some pig fencing. Can you send me some pig fencing? So they did, because they're awesome and they support you guys, me, my farm, and farming in general. So that's my premier plug for this video. On to the pig fencing. Pig fencing is great because your pigs get really big. They don't jump. They're not as likely to hop over something like a chicken or a sheep would. So for the pig fencing, it's easy to hop over, get in and out. I generally don't even turn the fence off when I'm working with the pigs because it's so easy to hop in and out. With the pigs, they're not going to jump over it. The other thing to note with the pig fencing, shorter posts, fewer strands, less weight, really easy to move, really easy. You only get a 100-foot run on these fences, but with that 100-foot run, it's so easy to move and there's so few strands, you could get some extra fence and do more fences together and still have a really hot fence. Or you just move the pigs a little bit more often, depending on how many pigs you're raising. So Pig fencing, the other thing I really liked about it is that that bottom strand sits 6 inches above the ground. And a lot of my other fences, I actually disconnected the bottom strand because it's always grounding out. With the pigs, they root and they'll push up dirt. This is like my luau. They root and they push up dirt right up to the fence line. And with that strand sitting above the ground, when they turn the dirt over, it doesn't hit the fence and the fence doesn't ground out as much. So the pig fencing, really, really easy to use. I thought it was a little like, you know, I had the idea that I'll just get one type of fence and I'll use it in all my different operations. I'm finding that as I slowly acquire more and more specific fencing over the years, whether it's from me buying it personally or Premier supporting this YouTube channel, that the right fencing application for the right application on your farm, the right livestock, makes a really big difference, even just in your day-to-day. Your animals stay in easier, it's easier to work with, it's really designed and built for that specific piece of livestock. That being said, don't be afraid. I've crossed all different kind of fences just to make it work, because at the end of the day, farmers just make it work. Thanks for stopping in and watching this video. If you have any fencing questions, leave them in the comments section below, and until next time, I will see you out in the field.